It's Hell Fueled right here on your Classic Metal Show with Born to Rock, one of those bands out of Sweden that Chris and I love so much. And I had an opportunity to talk to David Reese recently. Of course, David Reese was in Accept at one point.
Sure.
And he was also in Bangalore Choir.
Right.
And he has also done some vocal work with Bonfire, I believe. Bonfire?
I think he was in that too, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot of work. Well, David Reese is a big fan of the Swedish rock bands.
Okay.
And when the upcoming interview that you're going to hear on the Inside the Studio over at Uncontrolled Noise, he talks about his affection for these Swedish bands that basically he agrees with me that Sweden became the new L.A., turned up a couple of notches.
Sure. It's good stuff.
And, Hell Fueled being one of those bands.
Mm-hmm.
So tune into that. That's coming up in a week.
Yep.
David Reese, formerly of Accept and many other projects.
What's his new band? Sainted Sinners?
Yeah, Sainted Sinners.
I like that. That's it's kind of almost like a retro type of a
band.
It's
a 70s. It's a 70s style band.
Yeah, it reminded me of like old Whitesnake.
Yeah.
Like
it's very, very deep purplish.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it is. So if you're a fan of Deep Purple, early Whitesnake, in that vein, 70s rock, you really dig this Sainted Sinners fronted by David Reese.
Yep. Good stuff.
All right. Well, speaking of the 70s, nice tie-in here.
All right.
Somebody that we've covered on the show before, a teen idol icon of the 70s, David Cassidy.
Okay.
He is suffering from dementia.
Oof. Really?
Were you aware of that?
No.
Remember we covered a story a couple of years ago where he was fighting his ex-wife, who basically she wanted, or I can't remember if I don't know that she was actually his wife or just the mother of his child or something.
Okay.
And she was demanding some huge money from him for child support or just support and whatever, and he was fighting her for it. Remember we covered that story?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, he's kind of on the decline in health now.
Apparently.
Yeah. So actor and singer David Cassidy recently revealed he has dementia. But what exactly does this term mean?
Okay.
Cassidy, how old do you think David Cassidy is? Don't look it up. Just guess.
I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to say he was probably 20 when I was about 10. So I'm going to say 10 years older than me. I'm going to say 58.
You would be wrong, sir.
Really?
66.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you ever watched any of the documentaries on the Partridge Family.
No.
But David Cassidy, because of his fame with the Partridge Family, he became a huge star, due to the Partridge Family. And in between the filming of the Partridge Family during the week, he would work all week on the set. And then he would have literally these huge stadium concerts on the weekend.
No kidding.
Yeah, he would fly out and do these huge concerts, and they were massive, 20, 30,000 kids, women, girls, boys, whatever. Kids.
So I vaguely remember him, and I did not watch the Partridge Family. I not because it was a good show or bad show. I just don't even remember. I mean, I remember the dumb bus.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't remember anything about the Partridge Family other than Danny Bonaducci.
Right.
Was he bigger than, like, I don't know, Donnie and Marie or Leif Garrett, one of them?
Well, yeah, he was like one of the first big teen idol stars of the early 70s. And he was drawing just like massive crowds.
Was this at the same time as like Leif Garrett?
Leif Garrett and those guys, like Sean Cassidy, his half brother.
Yeah.
That was in the late 70s.
Okay.
And Leif Garrett was like in the mid to late 70s. David Cassidy was in the early 70s.
Okay.
So we're talking like somewhere between like 70 and 74.
Yeah, which would have made me 2 to 6.
Yeah. So he was drawing massive crowds.
Okay.
So he was living this crazy lifestyle where he was obviously acting on Partridge Family.
Right.
And then he would do like a couple of stadium gigs over the weekend and then be back on the set on Monday.
Wow.
And he was doing this for a couple of years, but he was just huge.
Okay.
You know, it was crazy. I love watching those old documentaries because I was just a kid like yourself.
Sure.
So I wasn't aware of that at the time. But
Right.
now to see some of that footage, it was just like, holy cow, he was like the Beatles.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, he was huge.
Did not know.
But anyway, Cassidy, who's 66, told People magazine on Monday that he has dementia and will stop touring as a musician because of his diagnosis.
Ironically, then he booked another gig because he forgot.
Yeah. The actor also said that both his mother and grandfather suffered from dementia.
Ugh.
I was in denial, but a part of me always knew it was coming. Dementia is not specific disease, but rather a group of symptoms resulting from changes in the brain that affect people's ability to carry on everyday activities.
Right.
The symptoms can include memory loss, problems with communication, such as trouble engaging in conversation, difficulty solving problems and reasoning, or changes in personality. Dementia is caused by damage to the brain's nerve cells, and the types of symptoms people have depend on the part of the brain that's affected, and according to the Mayo Clinic.
Right.
Doctors diagnose dementia when people have impairments in at least 2 out of 5 core brain functions.
Mm-hmm.
These 5 core functions are memory, communication, and language, ability to focus, reasoning, and judgment. Maybe that's what's wrong with ISIS.
Maybe
They have dementia. They have problem with reasoning and judgment.
Right.
And visual perception, such as the ability to judge distance or determine the height of a stare. People's risk for dementia increase as they get older, and those over age 65 are particularly at high risk. Those with family history of dementia are also a greater risk for the condition.
Great.
There are many diseases and conditions that can cause dementia, including the following. Alzheimer disease. This is the most common type of dementia, accounting for up to 80% of dementia causes. According to the Alzheimer Association, a hallmark of Alzheimer disease in the brain is the buildup of proteins known as beta amyloid and tau, T-A-U.
All right.
Vascular dementia. This is the second most common type of dementia. According to about 10% of the cases, according to the Alzheimer's Association, is caused by damage to the brain's blood vessels, which can occur after a stroke. Lewy, L-E-W-Y, body dementia. Abnormal clumps of protein called alpha-synuclei cause this type of dementia, according to the Alzheimer's Association. And in addition to memory loss, people with Lewy body dementia may also experience sleep disturbance, visual hallucinations, problem with involvement. After his death in 2014, actor Robin Williams was found to have Lewy body dementia.
Wow.
And it just gives you all these symptoms. But anyway, Cassidy did not specify which type of dementia he has, but he has spoken at events for the Alzheimer Foundation.
Okay.
And he's raised awareness, according to agingcare.com. His mother, Evelyn Ward, died from Alzheimer's related dementia, according to the Hollywood Reporter.
So that's what he has.
Probably.
Yeah, more than likely. Oof. Not a fun way to go.
Well, they were showing a clip of him singing, and he was forgetting the words.
Right. Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you saw it or not. I think it was on either Amazon or Netflix, but they had that one last go around for Glenn Campbell.
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, they chronicled his last year on the road, and it's clear that his dementia was really taking over, and he just couldn't remember the words anymore, and he started getting violent and having outbursts and all this other stuff. And I guess he's just like in a home now, and probably only has like maybe another year or two to live.
Yeah, dementia's fucked up, dude. My dad had it on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, it was fucking brutal. He would be the worst part about it was, at least from my experience, at least with my dad, was I'd be talking to him and he would seem like he was clear and coherent, and then he wouldn't know who he was fucking talking to.
Sure.
Like, he'd be talking to me about whatever, and we had some really clear moments, discussions. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he'd start calling me Al, and was thought that I was his former partner that he drove truck with in fucking 25 years earlier. And he wouldn't realize that he'd switched out. And he'd be like, yeah, this is that, and then with your mother and this and that. Don't you think so, Al?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, what the? And I'd be like, no, it's me, Dad. No, Al, what are you talking about? It's like, okay, I'm Al. Whatever, wasn't going to fight with him about it. But then weird shit, like, I would sit the last couple weeks of his life. I sat with him at the hospital,
mm-hmm.
To just so he wouldn't be scared or alone or whatever. And he'd be watching, for whatever fucking reason. I kept trying to put the TV onto like something that was like legitimate, like any show at all. And he would get furious. He'd be like, nah, put it on this channel, channel 6 or whatever. And that would be the infomercial channel.
Mm-hmm.
And he would tell me with every infomercial how he had bought and used that product for years.
Right.
And he'd never had any of this shit.
Sure.
It'd be fucking the Sham Wow or some shit. And he'd be like, yeah, I've got 20 of those in the garage.
Sure.
Like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't even have one in the garage. But it was weird. And it was frustrating as all get out, as the quote unquote sane family member, I guess.
Right.
To just sort of watch and try to translate and not be like, listen, motherfucker, I'm not Al.
Right.
It's frustrating. And I mean, you couldn't blame him. It's a fucking mental thing.
Sure.
But it's not fun. Not fun as a family member, and I can't imagine that it's fun as the person going through it. You'd be scared out of your fucking mind.
I would imagine.
Every day you don't know where the fuck you are.
Sure.
Ugh. Can't wait till it's my turn.
Right.
Ugh. Yuck.
So did you start humming in your head, if you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. I can call you Betty, and Betty, when you call me, you can call me Al. Call me Al. You didn't sing that?
No, I did not, but I could have, because he did it several times. He kept calling me Al.
That's what I think I would have broke into Call Me Al.
Yeah. At that point, it was easier to just go with it. Okay, I'm Al. You got me. I was pretending to be your son.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, not fun. Anybody that's been through it with a family member or friend or anything, fucking brutal. That's why, another reason I hope I don't live to be 100. Because, got family history of it. So
sure.
Very likely, if I was to live to be 65 or 70, I'd be fucking calling you Joe or something.
Right.
Be up here trying to do this radio show, and I'd be like, hey, what's going on, Joe? Or call you Matt. I'll start calling you Matt.
Sure.
Warlock.
And then say, surely you must be joking. And then you'd say,
please don't call me Shirley.
I'm not joking, and quit calling me Shirley.
Yeah.
Then I'd say, can I call you Al?
Yeah. Sure, that's my name.
Sure.